Yeah, we're recording. Hey boys, how's it going?
It's good. It's a good night so far.
Excellent.
Going
So
great, buddy.
yeah, so let's just jump right into this. So this is Bodybuilders Amateur Hour. Welcome, Vasco. We're really pleased to have you on. Um, you're pretty much brand new to the scene of bodybuilding, from what
Yeah,
I
yeah,
from what I know. I don't know a lot about you, but our guest below me here was talking you up, real good. Good old Dion
yeah.
Patterson. Um, so I was like, damn, we got to have this guy on the show. So
Thank you.
welcome,
Thank you.
welcome. Everyone knows Andy and Dion. You've been on the show before, so
Yep.
I can put up a link to your couple of your episodes if you want me to do that,
Sounds good.
so people
Yep.
know who
Sounds
you
great.
are instead of going into a big thing
Steel.
about. Because when he starts, the fucking guy doesn't stop.
Nope.
So,
Just keep battling.
so yeah, man, Vasco, we're really happy to have you on, and I don't know if you would like to do like a self introduction. That'd be fantastic if you don't mind.
Yeah,
Who
for
are you?
sure. Yeah, yeah. So I'm Vasko Philip. I'm 20 years old. I've been working out for the last 6 years pretty consecutively. I started off just going to the gym throughout COVID with my buddies, and then I was introduced to bodybuilding through a coach in my local area, and then I kind of got into it like middle of high school, and then I kind of dropped it after that. And it was in the last year where I started putting on like a lot of size. I was having fun doing different challenges and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? It's time to do a bodybuilding show. Like it's really time to dive into it. And through luck and connections, I met Dion, and we took up from where we took off, like 9 weeks out from the King Kong Classic, and the ball kind of just started getting rolling. And from there, all of this grew out of it. It was crunch time. It was like a massive experience. It was probably one of the hardest things I ever went through, but the payoff and being at that show and doing everything within the bodybuilding community has been one of the most highest points of my life so far, and
I love
definitely
that.
something that I want to build a career into.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's one of the really cool things about our community. As soon as you get involved, I think is like it's one of the things that really keeps people coming back or sticking with us. It's just
yeah,
like the sense of community is like amazing. Most people are super friendly. I don't
yeah,
know. Yeah, there's a few out there that are scary, but yeah, um, most are super friendly and really welcoming, right? And
for sure.
um, so yeah, and like you said, you started training a while back, but
Yeah,
why a show? Like for people that are watching, like this is Bodybuilders
yeah,
Amateur Hour. We really focus
yeah,
on bringing people in and educating people about how to like starting competing, or like maybe they've done one or two shows, but like if someone's
yeah,
interested in competing, like what got
yeah,
you there? Like what was the trigger that kind of was like, yeah, sure, I put a couple years into training, but not everyone does
yeah.
a show. That's it. So what got you to that point?
So I did it's called a challenge, like the 75 hard. So I started that last year of 2024, and I actually extended it 25 days. So I did it for 100 days, like a long period throughout the semester of like my school. And it got to that point where I was like, if I can do this, there's nothing really that's like holding me back. Like I can do anything I truly dream of. And I've always had a passion for the gym. Like growing up, it was always an escape for whatever reason it was. And getting to use that for something like a bodybuilding show, like really kind of motivated me. So going into it, I didn't know that I wanted to do bodybuilding, but I knew that I wanted to do something where I challenged myself, and I knew that I could handle the pressure and the tasks of it. And then my best friend Tristan Robertson, he did a show with Dion, and that kind of lit the spark. I was kind of like,
Okay,
he
cool.
looked amazing, he looked beautiful on stage. I know I can get myself to that point. I just kind of got to get the gears rolling and then start moving forward with it, and that's kind of where that passion of bodybuilding grew from.
Nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I was just gonna ask you how did you? So Dion here is your coach.
Yep.
So yeah, and how long have you guys been? Did you guys do an off season together? And how? Because since you kind of explained how you got connected with him, but
Yeah.
then yeah, what did
We didn't get no off season. He just
Yeah.
basically he was with another coach for a while.
Okay.
And I don't know if this coach didn't encourage him as much, but I could see that he had great genetics. I knew he wanted to compete. He had a natural flow to his posing already. I said, man, this guy's a natural. You know, when you look at someone's stature, you know whether or not they got what it takes. And I said, geez, I said, he's already lean. It's his first show. He's between the ages of 18 and 23, which is junior.
Yeah.
I said, why not give it a kick? Go novice and try the junior class and at least get your feet wet. Go classic, try bodybuilding as well. So how many classes did you eventually do? Was it 5 different classes you did, Vasco?
Four. Four.
4. Okay, so you
Yeah.
did the 2 junior bodybuilding and classic physique, and then he did
Yeah.
2 true novices bodybuilding and
Right.
classic physique. So he tried out them both, but we only had 9 weeks. So by the time I met him, it was 9 weeks. So there was no grow season. There was
Yeah.
no nothing. It was just fire them into a calorie deficit, start teaching them macros. I mean, it was education 101, right? The first 2 or 3 weeks, just drilling in numbers. And I was lucky this guy already knows this stuff. He's already been self taught. So I could fire off numbers and a list of food. And he had a pretty good concept on where we need to go. So he was a great student. He just listened to everything and he followed it through. And then we got Jamie the last couple of weeks to help dial him in. And yeah, I think what did we start at? About 190 pounds or so. And he hit stage, it was like 168.
Yeah.
So
Damn,
we pulled a fair bit of weight off the kid in 9 weeks. But I mean, he had striated glutes and,
yeah.
you know, and you got to understand the kid's 20 years old, natural, right? So his conditioning was, in our opinion, I've not had glutes as good as his, and I've used, you know, a fair amount of drugs. So this kid blew me away just on how tight and how lean it can really get, you know, natural.
Yeah, I saw some.
What do you think? Yeah. I mean, like I said, we got lots of time to grow. He obviously wasn't the biggest guy up there. He's 6'1". So I mean, he could weigh as much as friggin' Chris Bumstead, for God's sake, right?
Right.
So he's got lots of room to grow here. But no, pretty impressed. I think the judges like what they saw. I mean, they placed him well. He won the junior bodybuilding. He placed like, geez, there was 26 guys in one of his classes there. It was unbelievable, the size of the show. And he got second call out in that group of 26.
That's
and then
amazing.
He finished 5th. He got his medal in, what was it, classic physique, I believe. You took the 5th?
Classic junior. Yeah.
So, you know, sky's the limit, but I think he needs a good year for sure, or more, but at least a good year growing here and see maybe he can come back to New Brunswick and compete here at our natural show.
Yeah,
where was the King Kong Classic? I never even heard of it.
That's in Whitby, Whitby, Ontario.
Okay.
Yeah. That was my next question. Is like, why that show? Out of like all of the ones you could have picked, and you could have started with a smaller local show and probably won everything. But then,
so I was kind of like looking around for shows, and I was like,
you just like the trophy.
I didn't really have any idea. I picked the show before I even picked up Dion. I was working I had a coach, and then I kind of lost track with him, and then I was working with my buddy to try and help me figure it out. Throughout the summertime, we were probably around July, August. And I was like, I really want to do the show. I saw you do it. I was like, because my whole entire time working out, I always called myself a weightlifter and bodybuilder. And I was like, okay, now I got to kind of actually lock it in and do it. And I was looking around for shows near me, and especially at school, it's kind of hard to find one. And there wasn't a lot in the area. And I was like, if I want to do one at the end of the year, that was kind of the last one left. And I found that it was a natural show. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to kind of just jump into it. And I didn't realize how big of a natural show it was. There was people from Montreal, Kingston, Toronto, and there's people out of province as well, a couple of people from Alberta and stuff like that came in. But it was definitely a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. Like I was saying, you probably I was like, the trophy for the overall is pretty cool. It's like a big giant, like gorilla, right? Like King Kong.
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty cool. I was like, I would have did it just for that. That would be sick. Sitting on the mantle.
Exactly.
But so Dion and Vasco, what do you like when you guys were going through the 9 weeks? Would you recommend somebody to do that? Like, if someone else
Um,
was coming along and they're like, or is that just like you're kind of blessed with good genetics and that kind of helped carry you, or do you think anybody
I
else
think
could pull
anyone
that
else
off?
could do it. It was starting the year with that 100 hard challenge. So to break that down, I woke up every single morning at about 4 a.m. and then I would go for about a 5 kilometer run and I'd
Oh
do like a
God,
6 minute ice bath, stuff like that. So I was piling on a bunch of things on top of like because I'm in university right now currently. So being able to mentally handle that, I've built up a tolerance over time to be able to kind of like get the job done. So I think anyone really jumping into it, if they have the mindset and the determination, anyone can really do it. Like the genetic part played a huge role in my physique and my overall look, but the work and the getting the meals in, getting up extra early in the mornings to like meal
Yeah.
prep for my classes and like work around my schedule, that was more mental dedication. I think anyone can really do it if they love it enough.
yeah,
Yeah.
amazing, yeah. And going
But
into
like
to
you're getting back to what you're saying, I'll address that too.
sure,
No, I don't recommend like right
yeah,
up
yeah,
anybody does
Yeah,
that.
no, I don't.
Be,
Yeah,
but to back up a little bit with Vasco, he had already had a lot of weight training in.
that's
The
what I was gonna.
guy, I
Yeah,
mean, whether or not he was in the
nope,
spotlight to do a show or not, his physique told me a tale that it looked to me like he had a good 3, 4 solid years in. And he had some quality muscle there too, right? So to me, it was more of he's already lean. I know we can get him stage ready. This is just up to him whether or not this is something he wants to do or not. And we'll do it the best way, safest way possible that we know. But like I said, we only had 9 weeks. So if he had been any fatter, he wouldn't have come in that condition. We would have need more
exactly,
time. But
exactly,
by
yeah,
looking at his body, yeah, we had him pretty much ready. Like honestly, a couple weeks out from the show, really. So he didn't have a whole. I mean, even though the scale looks like we took 20 some pounds off, there was probably 8 or 9 pounds of water that first just blip.
yeah.
Just
It
that
comes off
baby
real
fat
quick.
water. Exactly. So honestly, it was his genetics, a lot of it, but like he said, I couldn't discipline this kid the way like he's unbelievable. He was already self-taught. He just stepped in, and all he had to do was just plug him in and play,
Yeah,
right? And just give and go. And he never really. I mean, he had lots of questions, but there were questions you want to hear. You know, he wasn't second guessing. He was asking questions so he could make it better. So he could be more consistent. And when it come down to posing, well, we had to start from scratch, right, buddy? I mean, we had what's the mandatories, what's the quarter turns,
yeah,
like
yeah,
just like a fish to water. This guy just caught on. So to me, it is a genetic thing because he's a natural at it, and I'm sure he's a natural at a lot of other things, other sports and whatever he put his mind to. But to me, um, I've seen a lot of guys compete 5, 6 times and not hit the stage with the presentation he had, or the flow, or the confidence, and or even just the conditioning too. So I felt he was quite a few steps ahead. Even though we only had 9 weeks together, I felt like I had worked with him forever once we got rolling.
yeah,
yeah. It's pretty cool, like what confidence can do, right? And how
Yep.
yeah.
it presents itself on stage or even throughout the prep.
Hmm.
Did you play any other sports before you got into bodybuilding? You
Oh
like
yeah,
rugby or
yeah. I was heavily into involving myself everywhere. I did wrestling, boxing. I did those for a number of years, and then I did like rugby. That's probably where I got my most injuries: rugby, lacrosse, and then a little bit of hockey. And then I played soccer when I was really young, but throughout high school, I did like all the different teams I could play on. Like I really tried to spread myself out as much as I could because I just kind of I like the challenge.
Nice, and
are
then
you
kind
good?
of
Are you kind of a natural at sports?
Yeah, like you can kind of throw me into anything, and then I'll figure it out, and I'll have fun with it. Yeah.
yeah, and that's probably where the work ethic comes from, and like not scared to get up early and push yourself.
Yeah.
And yeah,
But
so
you don't meet a lot of 20-year-olds like that these days, boys.
no,
Like
no,
that's
not
what
at
I'm saying.
all. That's
Like
like
even Jamie will even say it's like, man, he's rare. He's a beauty. He's a rare 20-year-old. Because I mean, I got a 23-year-old son. Jamie's got a 24, 25-year-old son. So he's kind of like our little adopted boy. that we stumbled across. We're like, geez, he's like our little angel. We got to watch our language and everything. We're like, we don't even want to swear too much around him. He's so innocent.
That's funny. So like saying that and keeping with that topic, like your friends that are like around like your age, are they you
Yeah.
had one buddy that did it that was coached by Dion here, but like your other
Yeah.
friends, are they like how do they look at you when you're doing this? Are they like you're crazy getting up doing all that shit?
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
what are you doing to yourself? Or like come hang out with us and let's go party and eat pizza. And you
Yeah.
gotta kind
Yeah.
of set yourself apart from them for a while.
Yeah. There's a good mixture of all. Like, there's some friends that really love and support all the work I'm doing, and those ones really help push me and motivate me through a lot of the hard times of like difficult areas. And then there are some that say, like, oh, come on, man, just come out. It's just one drink. It's just one.
Right.
It's just one of this. You know what I mean? And
Yeah. What? Yeah.
those ones. I mean, it's hard
This
because you
one
love
thing won't
them.
hurt you, will it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those things kind of pile up, and in the end, they do kind of come back to bite you in the butt. So
Yeah.
for them, I mean, I always keep them close to my heart, and I'll always be there and have their back. But at times you kind of got to step back and look around and who you want to surround yourself with. And I mean, I was lucky enough to have Dion. Like, he was a really good post to lean on throughout the whole entire the prep, and we would talk like coaches and like athletes, and then other times we would talk like best friends on the phone, and that definitely helped carry me through.
Yeah.
Cool. Like when you guys are chatting on the phone, what were some of the biggest concerns going through your 9 week prep that you would like message him about and be like, oh man, like I don't know about this, or like I'm having trouble with that, or was there anything like that was like kind of giving you a hard time?
I don't think too much with anything. I think everything that Dion gave me, I kind of was like, all right, like I kind of put all my trust and faith into him. I was like, like you've been talked up by Tristan. I saw the work that you did with him. I'm gonna trust everything you say. So whatever you say, like I'll do. Kind of like you tell me to jump, I'll jump, and then I'll come back down when you tell me to come back down.
Cool. That's I think one of the best ways to do it. But if you do have questions, hopefully
Yeah,
Dion should be able to answer them and like
for sure.
explain why. Like that's a good coach, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I really hate when coaches are like you ask a question and they're just like they don't answer you. They just say just do it,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
right?
No, it
Because
was. I don't
there's
think
no
we were ever kind
reasoning
of like
behind it.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to talk too much to be able to say just do it. I don't know. It's just I say here's what we're gonna do, and then of course I got to spend 20 more minutes explaining why we're doing it that way, right? Just
Yeah.
so that I've always been that type of coach. I feel like education is key, and if I can just give you something that's gonna last for the rest of your life, you know what I mean? Like that's important. And that's what I'm here for. To me, that's what you'd pay a coach for. That's why you hire a coach. It's not just to say here's a cookie cutter program and here's have a nice day. Like I want to know why, right? Like if I hire, you know, Andy or I hire you, and I'm gonna say, well, why Andy am I putting this and this and this together? What does that do to the body? Like really? And then he can explain, well, this causes this is why it works together, and I'll be like, okay, right on, thank you so much. That'll be something, you can
Yeah.
visualize those things. With Vasco, he's such a sponge that I wanted to tell him, everything I knew in 24 hours because it was just he
Yeah.
sucked it up, right?
Yeah.
So it's exciting
Yeah.
to coach people like that. You don't get people like that very often. So I
Yeah.
find it brought me back. I actually had a lot more fun coaching you this time than I think I've had in a long time.
Yeah.
And Jamie speak that as well. Like we just had a whole different view on it just because of your personality too. Like he just kept so calm and like, I don't know. I'm like, are you ever run that energy? Like how you feel today? Feel great. A little tired. You know what I mean? It's just like, for me, it's like I'm dying here,
Yeah.
right? Like give me something to eat.
Yeah.
But this kid, he was just battling it out. So I don't know. I just was so impressed for a first time guy that went through it the way he did. I was like, keep her just like this. Don't ever change a thing. Have fun every show. Walk in there thinking you're just there for you. And wherever the placings happen, then great. And it's so humble, that, he's not going in with this big ego of, I'm going to win this whole show. So, to me, it was great all the way around.
Yeah.
So did you ever slip up on your diet? You must have
Nope.
screwed up once or twice.
Tell the
You can
truth.
be
One
honest.
thing.
You can be honest now.
every once
It's
in a while,
over.
I would take grapes out of my fridge because I had a bush of grapes. That was the only thing. I was so proud that I
Yeah.
never actually slipped up. The only time, because like every once in a while, Dion would give me a refeed, and I would get scared because like that was the only time I would eat
Yeah.
like a burger or something like that, and I'd call him like 3 or 4 times before I'd pick up the burger because I was like, okay, you sure this is the
Yep.
one? This is the fries I'm supposed to get. Like, I made sure
Yep.
everything was
True.
like perfect.
Yeah.
But
That's a good diet plan.
I understand.
You don't slip up, you got a good coach and a good diet plan.
That brings
Yeah.
back memories. Holy moly. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, the thing what I found too, and I don't know about you, Andy, but as I've done all these shows, and my food's got to, if I can't have it tasting good now, like I'm spoiled rotten. Like I can't go back to the old plain tuna and like plain old white rice and just like I have to have those sugar-free sauces and a little bit of something to give me some flavor. And
Yeah.
this kid here, he's a master of coming up with all these cool concoctions. So I don't know. I was kind of learning some stuff off Vasko towards the end of it, you know?
Nice.
yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, so he's making stuff creative, like, you know, not to bring up Greg Doucette because I'm sure he doesn't need any more publicity, but, you know, just simple like his anabolic, you know, cookbook
The
stuff. Like,
French
there's so
toast
many
and all
freaking
that.
cool little ideas in there, right?
Greg
That,
who?
um,
Yeah. I don't know.
well, you know who. But those little simple ideas that Vasco, he's going to write his own cookbook. Yeah, the natural anabolic cookbook by Vasco Philip.
yeah.
Nice. Give us a couple examples. What would you do to some of your food to make it better?
Well, I learned that mustard halfway through the prep had 0 calories, and that
Yeah.
became my best friend. Actually, a funny story about that. I remember one time I was coming home for the train, and I was so hungry, I had no food. I was like, every one, because there's a 3-hour train ride, so every hour I'd do like a little teaspoon of mustard to carry me throughout the train, because I didn't have any food left throughout the day.
What?
It was brutal.
That's
Oh yeah, I was
disgusting.
hungry, but I could only do a teaspoon of mustard. Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, attaboy.
What train ride? What are you
But-
talking about trains for here? Where are we going?
Because
He's way out. He's all over the city.
yeah, I'm in St. Catharines, so roughly Niagara Falls area, and
Yeah.
that's where I am for school. And then I live kind of close to where the show was. I was about 20 minutes away from there, so that's
Oh,
also the
that's
deciding
sweet.
factor.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. So to take a car ride, it's about 2 hours, but a train like is about normally 3 hours, so it's a little slower. But for food and recipes, I kind of just kept on going to TikTok. So like I learned all different ways I can try and cook rice to try and make it taste better, like, you know, putting it in the air fryer or not the air fryer, sorry, the pressure cooker, or doing it like in different ways, cooking it and then like soaking it before and soaking it in different seasonings, and then cooking like canned tuna different ways. I was frying it, and then I was making little patties out of them, trying to do patties. The worst thing I did was I took chicken breasts and like I cooked them and then I put them in the blender and like shredded them up to
Oh,
try and make like
God.
shredded chicken.
Yeah.
That one was
Yeah.
pretty rough.
Okay, I
Yeah.
thought you were gonna be like, I ended up drinking it through on the train ride.
I tried that one time too,
Oh,
but it
no.
didn't turn out well. Shredding that stuff in the blender.
The
Yeah.
food
Yeah.
processor will shred it up pretty good if you have the right attachment for it.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, yeah?
There's totally a proper tool for that job.
There is a proper
Oh, I
tool
didn't
for
know.
that.
The blender's not it.
Man,
Yeah.
tablespoons of mustard though. Holy smokes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
That's
Attaboy.
I,
Just pound her back. Get that
Yeah.
sodium in there.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I was
I like,
big on dill pickles. I would have a fit, man. I'd get up in the middle of the night and I'd open that jar up and I'd look at the side of her and I'd read the calories and I'd say, to hell with it. There's nothing in it. It's just a cucumber. And I'd pound back a half a dozen of those suckers. That would get me through though, you know?
Yeah.
definitely no cramping after that. You're fine.
Oh, no.
Even up around here, I mean, I don't know if you out your area ever heard of fiddleheads, but it's just nothing but a little green fern that rolls around here certain times of year.
Yeah, kind
Like
of
a Brussels sprout. Yeah. Ain't
Okay,
even nothing in them really, but I'll have bags of them sometimes frozen. I'll boil them up and put vinegar on them, salt and pepper on them. And that'll be
Yeah,
another go-to when I'm starving to death, right? And there's nothing in it, but like eating a bowl of lettuce, really.
That's good.
Yeah.
Just kind of get that filler. But the mustard thing, you never told me about your mustard attacks during your
Yeah. No, I was pretty low there. That was pretty low.
That's not,
Like,
yeah. It's almost rock bottom, man. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So sometimes what I would do for mustard, I would like have a half a bottle of mustard. Then I would
Yep.
put in like Frank's hot sauce in the mustard,
There you go.
and
Yep.
then take like 8 or 9 packages of like stevia or something,
Right.
Okay.
and put it in and shake it all up. Then it's like a
Sweetener up.
sweet hot sauce.
Really?
Gotcha.
That's super good.
Oh, I never heard of that one.
That's
I never heard of
smart.
the
That's really
stevia in
smart.
it.
So yeah, it is like, yeah, that's really good. If you
Yeah.
do the sweeteners,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was my like kind of like secret sauce for me
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
before all like, but when all of our careers started, we didn't have anything
No.
fancy, right? It
Yeah.
was
Okay.
like
Yeah.
it was just dry, yeah, plain ass chicken and rice, and we yeah, and like then Mrs. Dash, like
Yeah, that was when a
that was
miracle
that was a big
sprinkle.
thing
Yep.
when that came out. It was like a sodium free seasoning.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Then eventually we learned that sodium was good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, that kind of stopped. But
Back
Yeah.
in my day, we used to eat a whole jar of peanut butter and then go, ah, shit.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Set yourself back
Yeah.
4 days.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. So a question about your show when you were. So if people are watching this and they're like on the verge of doing a show, maybe I want to, maybe I don't.
Mhm.
I'm a little nervous, like doing
Yeah.
a show, like even doing a small local show where you might have 50, 60 people in it. People still get really nervous getting on stage.
Yeah.
So how was your nerves going onto this like such a big show in front of like hundreds of people for the first time?
Yeah.
Like how did you handle that?
Um, I mean, throughout the whole entire prep, I was scared. I was always like constantly nervous, but I kind of always like temper my nerves well. Like I learned to deal with them and move on with them. But definitely show day and show morning, like I had a wave of emotion come over me. It was because I got up about 4:30 that morning to get prepared for my second coat of the TAM, and I was in the shower, and I just remember like almost because I had no water left in me, I was crying, but there was no tears coming out. And I just felt a wave of happiness and like a wholesome feeling throughout my chest. And I remember arriving at the facility and I was like kind of nervous, and then I got backstage, and then like I just started getting more and more excited, and the nerves turned from being scared and then kind of going into, I've been doing this my whole life. I love flexing in front of the mirror, and now I get to flex in front of people that are all here to
Yep.
watch it. And
Right.
it kind of just got more and more exciting, and you're backstage with all the guys back there, and everyone's just excited. Like there's no real competition. Like you look around and you see a bunch of amazing physiques, but there's no, like, it's not like you're stepping on like a football field or anything like that. Like where you're
No.
like, oh, that's the, you know what I mean? Like that's the
That's
opponent.
the enemy.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was just a really good, amazing feeling as soon as I got there. And looking back at the prep, I didn't need to be as nervous as I was, because once I got there and once that morning kind of took place, everything left, like it was behind me. All the preparation, all the hard work is all done, and you're finally there that day of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like I kind of get that feeling, right? I understand the feeling of like just proud, right? You're proud of yourself, and
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really hard. I think that's really hard to come by in like life in general, right?
Mhm.
To be usually get proud of other people or like happy for other people, but coming into being
Yeah.
proud or happy for yourself, that's kind of rare.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
a really
Yeah.
cool feeling. So
It
congratulations on
is.
that. That's really
Thank you.
impressive.
Thank you. Yeah.
And yeah. Uh, so what would you for just com- just completing your first show? What would you
For sure.
recommend for somebody else coming into their first show to like help with that kind of feeling?
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, for starters, definitely giving yourself enough time to make sure that you're in the appropriate amount for like the preparation. Like some of the nerves as well, was the amount of crunch time that we had. I kept on thinking like we were gonna run out of time, or I wasn't gonna get prepped, like, or I wasn't gonna be ready for the day. Um, so giving yourself enough time to make sure that like you have room to like cut back the weight without that time pressure. And then to help with the nerves is just everyone feels the same way.
yeah.
And that's one thing I picked up from sports. Everyone's going to feel the exact same thing. And knowing that if someone beside me feels the exact same way and the person beside him is feeling it, I can feel good that like I'm not the only person feeling that way. It's not just me. I'm not being singled out. And just looking back and looking at all the people that have been there to support you, like my family coming to the show, like they're there to see me and they're happy. And it's no longer for me, it's for them. And the work that I'm doing is for them. Um, so that kind of would definitely help with those nerves, and just you kind of have to take a look back and be like, and be proud of yourself. It's like you said, it's hard to do that. It's easy to look at someone else and be proud of them, but you really do have to look at the work that you've put in, because it does take a lot of time. It does take a lot of effort, and congratulations for doing it, because you're there. You're on the stage and you're doing the work.
No, yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for you.
Thank you.
Were
Yeah.
you surprised at how much weight you had to lose? Like, were you surprised
Yeah.
at the number, like the actual amount of weight? Because I hear a lot of new guys that are getting
That's a
into it.
good
They're like, "Oh, I
question.
just want to lose about 10 pounds. Maybe I'll do a show." And I'm
Yeah,
like, "No, you need to lose like
Yeah.
40 pounds." They look at me like I have
Yeah.
four heads. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
That's a really good question. I
I was
like that.
scared
Yeah.
because I haven't seen numbers like that since I started working out. Like the last time I was 168, I was probably in high school, and I was like, kept talking to Deal, and I was like, "How light do you think I'm gonna be? How light do you think I'm gonna be?" He's like, "I don't know, man. It's hard to say, but like I'm thinking you're gonna be around 170, maybe lower." And I was nervous for it, but looking at it now, you don't look like you're that weight. Like that weight is just that fat and that like adipose tissue and the water leaving your body, and then you're really left with like the muscle and the physique, which is still a lot of size. Like you look bigger because you're so defined and so cut.
Yeah.
yeah,
A lot of people probably
But yeah,
a lot of people come to you like when you're that size, like you were. I think
yeah,
people will be like, "Man, you look like you're 200 pounds," right?
yeah,
Walking
yeah,
around in the
exactly.
gym, but you're like, "No, you're way off."
yeah.
Yeah,
It's such a
yeah.
cool illusion.
Yo, for sure, it really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting being that small as well, or that not that small but that lean, because like while I was in it I felt really fragile. Like I felt like like the wind could knock me over almost.
Yeah.
And then when you kind of like, especially where I am now, I've been putting on size again, putting on a little bit more fat, and I feel more solid and sturdy. But that was definitely an interesting feeling, because I would look at myself and I'd be like, wow, I look bigger than I did when I was peak bulked, or I thought I looked bigger,
Right. Yeah.
but I felt super, super fragile. And like, I
Yeah.
guess like I wanted to be careful. I didn't want to injure myself. I didn't want to overexert myself. I wanted to make sure I was doing everything properly to stay healthy, like physically.
Yeah. So yeah, that's smart.
Yeah.
And like I say, I mean, we're obviously talking natural bodybuilding here.
Mhm.
Um, and it's, I'm just super impressed too, because like I said, I've done my fair share of gear getting ready for shows and help people, get ready while using. So with this guy here, straight clean slate, nothing but some creatine, some multivitamins, some protein pack, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
very, very basic toolbox. Um, yeah, super impressed. It showed a lot to me of what an actual, natural bodybuilder can accomplish, and in a major deficit and not really lose that much size. So,
Yeah.
I, we guinea pigged you quite a bit, but this boy wasn't eating a lot of food. Like I
Yeah.
think we had him down. I'm not going to lie to you. He was under 15, 14, 13,
Holy
now we're down. Yeah,
smokes.
we were 13, 1400 calories there the last couple weeks. Like,
That sounds horrible. I'm sorry.
you know, and,
Yeah.
and, and the thing is that he kept, once we filled him out and stuff, everything was where it was supposed to
Yeah.
be. And
Mhm.
that's perfectly not like we kind of treated him as if we were doing ourselves to a certain point. Not as much food or whatever, right? Things were a little less.
Yep.
But man, I'm telling you, his body really took to pretty much the same protocols what like I would use myself, or Jamie's used himself.
Yeah.
Obviously, the
100%.
food wasn't as much. We didn't carb him up as high, obviously, but the same protocol, and it seemed to work perfect. What did you think, Vasco? I mean, you could
Yeah.
tell the difference in the last few days when we started feeding you a lot more food and really
Oh
getting
yeah.
those carbs up. But even on a high day, we only went maybe as high as 500 grams of carbs. I think 400 on our highest day,
Yeah.
maybe. So it wasn't
Yeah.
crazy
400.
numbers, but yeah,
Yeah.
but we learned a lot, even just like for myself. I'm like, oh, like maybe eat a little too much. Like that, you know what I mean? Like sometimes, right? Like
Yeah.
his glutes came in there like you wouldn't believe, and I just never seen that on a natural athlete in like
Yeah,
a
that's
long time.
extremely hard to do.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, I barely touched the surface. I mean, Josh here has had you could grade cheese off his glutes.
Yeah.
Andy's had striated, Jamie's striated, but I have a hard job getting them in. I don't have a lot of big muscle there either, and I find as you grow your glutes, the striations have a tendency to come out more too as you build the glutes.
Mhm.
And he's kind of got smaller little rear end. So for me, man, you put some size on the butt there, get the hamstrings up, you're going to be subdominant from the back. Just because he says that big leg size, you don't see that either in a natural athlete. Big
No.
quad sweep. So
Exactly.
no,
Yeah.
So
I'm just impressed with his structure overall. Yep.
So saying all of that, people have no idea what we're talking about. So I'm going to pull up your Instagram,
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'll try to get this, see if I can make this work. Are you seeing that?
Yeah. Yeah. I can see
Yep.
that there.
Yep.
All right, let me see if I got to try to be able to control this here.
He's got 22,000 followers, man.
Yeah, I had
This
a
is gonna
question
blow
about
you up.
that. How much did that cost you?
That was all from that challenge that I did. That 100-day challenge. Most
Right.
of that following came from there.
Like I seen that, I was like 336 posts, 22K,
Yep.
22,000 followers. Like holy shit,
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
that's wild. I should do that.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna scroll through.
Ooh, look
So
at that
get
most muscular there. Looks pretty good.
Day
I think that
Natty.
was about 3 weeks out. That most muscular.
Yeah, that was a video
So
there.
yeah, let's
Yeah, see, you can see there, like the kid's got the shape,
right. Yeah,
you know,
like that's crazy and natural too. So
got
Yeah.
that tiny little
the side-
waist.
the
Yep,
side
like
tricep.
that don't look natty. I don't
No,
care.
not
You
at
don't
all.
look natural.
No, I would like to see your test results.
Yes,
That's
we
one
want
thing I
blood
want
work.
to do. I want to get my blood work and urine and like check over everything, see where I'm at right now.
You should do that for sure. Even totally.
Yeah.
There we go.
Those
There you
ones
go.
there are the Zoom images. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah, Zoom does a nice job.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a cool pose. I cannot do that pose.
I have like a history in dancing and ballet as well. I did
Oh,
ballet when I was younger.
that's where your stage presence comes from, eh?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, totally.
That definitely helped with the fluidity of my body.
Right.
But I love those leg splits. I want to be able to actually do the splits fully because I think that'd be pretty cool if I could
That'd
do
be
that
cool.
on stage.
You can really see like your adductors popping out there,
Yeah.
right at the bottom.
I was actually looking at those the other day. How deep the cuts are on those.
That's a nice shot.
Yeah, that's good.
There we go. Couple.
That's
comparisons.
in the
where you
middle
can kind
there.
of see the comparisons there.
So they moved
height.
you into the middle there.
That's you in the middle,
Yeah.
tall guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got compared there pretty good. He ended up in this one. I think, did you get fifth in this one, though? But they pulled you to the
Yeah.
middle right the first. But look at the glutes there. I don't know if that goes blurry, but
Yeah,
that
you
from
can
the
kinda
back
see it,
there,
yeah.
you look at them all from the waist down across. Like, he's
Yeah.
got it right across the board.
But I can see there where for sure. But I can see there where you need a little bit more thickness, like hamstring thickness.
Totally. Yes, that's what I'm saying. He needs
Will
that
definitely
thickness.
set
Yeah.
you above all the rest in that.
When he's so tall that every class he just looks like he towers over them.
Harder.
So you
And
get
but that
some more
also makes it
size on him.
harder, I think. Oh, the vacuum too.
He's got a beautiful vacuum, yeah.
Is that something that you've always been able to do, or was that a practice?
Yeah. I've always kind of been able to have really good abdominal control, and the vacuum kind of just comes naturally.
Lucky.
Look at the glute hamstring tie
Yep.
in there compared to the other guys on each side, you know?
Oh, for sure. It's night and day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool pose, too.
Yeah.
But that was a crazy show, guys. Like it was like 300 and some competitors overall, and they had an open show the day before, and then they had the class or the natural the next day.
I like that pose.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It's almost like a Lee Priest, but like you're
Yeah,
doing a split.
Yeah.
Oh, turn kneeling Arnold.
Yeah. That was a part of the
That's a
posing
nice.
routine that I
That's a
built.
nice
Okay,
shot too.
this is the posing
That's a good
routine,
one.
right?
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I think that's the end of the lineup. That's the one where you got fifth, I think.
Yeah, so left
Yeah.
goes first, third, and then I'm fifth.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Damn.
But it was,
That's like a
like I
hard.
said, there was so many people in that one class that I wouldn't want to be the judge. 26 guys. It was so hard to compare them all.
Oh, yeah, that would
Yeah,
have been very difficult. There's another video through here. I thought that was pretty interesting. If you want to touch on for a minute.
for sure.
Yeah, what's the surgery about?
Oh yeah. So I have a deviated septum, and it's basically where the cartilage in my nose was kind of crooked, so the airflow was restricted every time I would try and breathe, and it really started affecting my lifts. So every time I would do like a big heavy squat or something like that, my nostrils would kind of close off. I couldn't get in that full breath. So that surgery helped realign that cartilage, so now I can get a massive breath in when I breathe through my nose, and now I'm not as much of a mouth breather. I'm more of a nose breather.
Oh, I bet
Yeah.
that's a lot of things. It could be a lot of people's problems. They have no idea why or what it is.
For sure, yeah.
Exactly.
Like my sleep and my running were always affected, and then after I got the surgery, everything kind of changed. Like I don't get sore throats when I sleep anymore because I don't sleep with my mouth open, and like especially in the wintertime when it's dry inside
Yeah.
the house, like it would dry out my throat.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Might save you in the long run when you're like 300 pounds. You won't have to use a CPAP machine.
Yeah, yeah,
Where is that other? This one. This one's pretty cool. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
yeah,
So you're living a different life, looks like, a little bit before bodybuilding and fitness took over.
yeah, yeah. This is a complete change. Like
Right
I went
from
from partying with my friends and thinking I was like really fit, thinking I was very athletic, and looking back on it, I really wasn't. I thought I was, but this is more athletic, getting up, doing the runs, eating properly, not filling myself with alcohol and liquor, other substances, really treating my body like a temple is the
right,
best way to be the most athletic compared to not.
definitely.
Mhm.
Let's. How do I get back out of here? Enter. Let's see. Oh dear, bear with me.
You'll get her.
I think I just made it worse.
Yeah.
Yep, still worse. All right, we'll get there. Are you guys seeing anything?
Yeah, I can see Vasco. That's it.
Yeah.
All right. This is what editing is for.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can just see a screen right now, right? Like
Yep.
Yeah, just a hill.
Big pretty picture.
Yeah, okay. And share screen. No. Hide all overlays. Damn it. There.
There you go.
There we go. Got it.
There.
Right, this program's complicated. All right.
So, Josh, how old were you when you first competed? Your very first show?
27.
How old were you, Andy?
I think I was 24.
Okay, so a little older.
Yeah.
Did they have junior divisions when you got? Yeah, they would have. Had junior. Or did you only just get into bodybuilding? Like, were you always lifting weights when you were young, like in your teenage years, or?
Me, yeah, I started training when I was 14.
Okay.
But I didn't know what I was doing. All right, no one really
Right.
does. But I was also like into other sports, and I was in martial arts for like a long time.
Right.
So I wasn't for me. I spent I don't know, my 20s, almost all of my 20s and my teenage years weightlifting, but also in martial arts. So I did not
Right.
grow because I was running
Right.
and like cardio, like my cardio was amazing, and
Yeah.
but I didn't grow. I just stayed skinny fat and was super flexible.
Yeah. Right.
So and then until I moved to New Brunswick and met Devin and Andy, things changed.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and so that was kind of like my catalyst when I left Halifax and moved to New Brunswick, and then met some people that actually cared and was willing to help me out. Andy just did it by making fun of me, so I had no choice
Yeah.
to
I
get
just
better.
picked on
Exactly.
you
I could see that.
too. Yeah.
But yeah, so like yeah, I have some pretty crazy pictures of like before and afters of like my martial art days,
Yeah.
and
I've seen some.
yeah,
Yeah. I see what you mean by skinny fat. I was
right,
like, wow, I would have never expected because I always thought it would have just been like lean, like hard gainer look. Yeah.
yeah, no, not at all, right. It was just like, but the thing is like for people that are watching that are like pretty new to this, I spent years in the gym, years pounding away, lifting as much as I could do, and but I was killing myself with cardio because of my other sports.
Yeah.
And I could not eat as much as I needed to eat
No.
to keep up with that. And I couldn't afford at the time to eat what I needed to eat to
Yeah.
keep up with that. So it was like there was two things battling that, like my wanting to be a bigger person. So in the end I made it, got my black belt, and then moved to New Brunswick, and that part of my life fell away, and I started doing something else that I loved the right way,
Right.
Yeah.
right? But it also took, as you know, getting connected with Dion, it took somebody else to help me get there, right?
Yeah.
To,
Yeah.
to have a mentor, to point into the right direction, point it the way, didn't really hold my hand, but, was there giving me directions on the side and here and there. So it was, yeah, so that was kind of my start to that journey. Obviously, there's road bumps along the way and whatnot, and road bumps and ex girlfriends and craziness, but
Yeah.
that always put things into it.
You were
But
100%.
yeah, Andy,
well, I mean, I've been into it since I was a young guy, and since I was in my teens, and I just friggin' loved it. I couldn't get enough of it. But the problem for me was the money. You have to get for me anyway. I had to get my career first and get that going, so I could get enough money to afford all the food and it's a pretty big bill to do a show, as you just found out, right?
Whoa.
It's not cheap.
Yeah.
So
No.
you got to have the finances in place, and you got to be surrounded by the right people. And most of what I learned online, because I was lucky that when I was coming up, there was a lot of bodybuilding forums and that sort of thing, and I was all over those. Still am to some degree. So, but it's a passion and it never leaves. I can tell you that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep. There's days where I think I was throwing in the towel, but then I'm like, wait, no, not quite yet, not quite. I think I retired 6 times over, but in my head, and then I'm like, no, okay, no, I'll
Yeah.
I'll do another one.
One more show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So saying that, like, what's your next plan? Do you have a first show?
Yeah. So hopefully I'm probably gonna take a year off. Really try and build up as much muscle as we can to add some girth, or I guess size, to some areas, and then hopefully run with it again. Maybe do hopefully something out where you guys are from, because that'd be pretty cool if I can go out to New Brunswick area and do a show out there. That'd be pretty cool experience.
I don't know how the King Kong Classic was, but the Atlantics here is like second to none for quality of a show. It's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Dion was saying that you guys throw a really nice show out there.
yeah. So
Yeah, it'd be worth
give
it
that a shot.
to come out here and do one. I think you'd really enjoy yourself at the Atlantics specifically. Really good show.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I can bring more to the table, and that's kind of what I'm excited for this off season. Like, getting this first show out of the way really introduced me to the sport, and now the addiction's kind of started, the spark's lit, and I just want to keep carrying with it. Like, I can envision what I want to build, and that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I remember the day after the show, like, I was like, I'm ready to go back into the gym. Like, I want to keep going. I don't want to stop. There's no days off. Like, I gotta get back into this.
Yeah, I had to slow him down. I'm like, let's hit the brakes here, old buddy. We just been starving ourselves, so eat, rest. But he was gone home, so I think we might have took 2 or 3 days, and then I was here's your new diet, reverse diet. Then we've just been adding a little bit of food each week, but he's back up to already now. What are you weighing now? 100 and what?
Well, the other day I went to all you can eat sushi, and I probably weighed the heaviest I have in a long time. I was almost 190, and I was like, okay, I gotta slow it down a little bit. I'm getting a little too excited with the rebound.
22 pounds, 3 weeks.
Well, that's a lot. That's fun.
Yeah.
Right.
But you know what? Then he sends me pictures, and the friggin' guy's still shredded. So I'm like, maybe we pulled you too far. Maybe we should have left 5 more pounds on you. You know? But because, you know how when you look back sometimes at your stuff and you're like, wait a minute. After you eat some food there and maybe not spill over, you're like about 5-6 pounds heavier. And you're like, shit, maybe I should have stopped there. But we never seem to do that. But
no.
You almost looked a little bit better. Like, I hate saying that. Everyone always says, look better after the show. But you were smoothing over, though. You were skimming over. Yeah. We always want to think that.
Yeah.
But no, you're putting the weight on good, but like I say, we want to slow her down a little bit here soon. Like to hit 200 pounds for the kid, because you're still lean. Even, you put that weight on, you're still super lean. So you'll have no problem probably getting up to a couple 100 pounds, and then we want to probably main gain for a while.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still experimenting too. How much food do you feed a guy, who's natural, right? So we're still figuring out those things, and he's young, and his base metabolism is right through the roof, and he never stops. He's always on the go. So we're just figuring this out. Where's our top end calories? Where are we going to end up?
Right. Yeah, it's a good question. It's just a trial and error, right?
That's all it is, and that's what I say with them. I'm like, I can't give you I can give you a template, but that don't mean nothing, right? Give you a rough formula, but at the end of the day, it's really different when it's put into practical. Right? What's on paper sometimes don't really work out.
Yeah.
Because I don't really think you need to be feeding guys all this. I mean, 5,000 calories on this kid, you know what I mean? He's like double his maintenance calories. It's like, he's not a Morgan McDonald, right? 315-pound muscle. So you got to be careful too, I find, because he can put fat on pretty quick, because I've seen some of his old pictures there. He can get pretty bulky and pretty soggy pretty fast, right? So we just want to keep them good and keep you healthy too, right?
Right. Yeah, there's a limit, right? You gotta watch it. You don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't have to peel off too much weight for your next show, so you gotta be.
Well, see, now what do you like? Just to educate him, like on average, what do you like to keep your body weight above? Let's say you're competing at 175.
For me, yeah. The past few shows, my cutoff was 176.4, so I usually hang around 187 ish.
Really?
Right? And that's not purposely. I just eat, and that's just my body just likes that weight.
Gotcha.
So
that's why you're pretty lean all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is. I can't really do much.
What about you, Andy? Like you about 30-pound leg over contest?
Yeah, usually between 30 and 40 pounds usually is my top end.
Gotcha.
I don't think you go above. If you go more than 40 pounds for guys our size, you're going to be getting pretty fat.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll
Don't you
tire
find you
shoes.
guys too, like you start feeling kind of shitty, even though you're not fat, you bend over to tie your shoes and stuff, and you're just winded. You just
Yeah,
find yourself heavy in the chest, like it's like
yeah.
you're struggling to breathe. Yeah,
Yeah. So
I like
I'm
to say
trying
just
something.
just before that.
Right. Yeah.
That's
yeah, yeah. Just before that happens.
yeah, just before that.
Yeah.
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 So like I'm 5'7", and right now I'm trying something different this year, and I'm over 200 right now.
Okay.
So it's new, and tying
That's
my
as heavy
shoes.
as you've been.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
I come up from tying my shoes, my face is red. Like, huh.
Yep. That's
Right.
me at 190. Like I'm about 182,
He's like, yeah.
183 right there now. Like I was kind of, well, I just wasn't eating enough for a while, and summer was kind of crappy for me. And if I don't train, I lose weight. It's the weirdest thing, but it's just for me. If I'm not training regularly, I have a tendency to drop weight on the scale. Must
Oh
just I'm
yeah.
shrinking up. My body just loses that quick, right? So when I start back training and start eating, I have a tendency to gain fast, but then I get that shitty feeling like you're talking about. It's like, oh, is this worth it? I kind of liked how I felt at 175, even though I like how I
It
look here
does.
at 185.
Yeah.
But I kept that cardio in. I find that helps. See, I try to get my 30 minutes of cardio in at least 5 days a week, and I find that helps a lot.
That's yeah. Like yeah. Cardio
You
in the
still
off
keep
season
your
is very
car?
important.
You're not doing? Are you doing cardio?
Me?
Yeah.
I usually will do like warm up if I'm coming from work. No, because I'm
Yeah.
walking a
Okay.
lot and I'm like constantly
Right.
moving
You get a
at
lot
work.
of you get a lot of steps in the run of a day. Yeah.
But then if I come in before work or something, yeah, I'll jump on for 10 to 15 minutes usually,
Yeah.
and then like
Now, what
get
would you
warmed up,
guys
get my
recommend to someone like Vasco now, a young, natural,
yeah.
naturally lean, right? Would you still suggest that someone like him keep his cardio going daily?
Yeah, definitely.
What about you, Andy?
Well, I would hold off a little bit until he gets all of his strength back. And then you have
Right.
to kind of go from there because
Yeah,
cardio is one of those things that can really slow down your progression too, right? So it's like you don't want to
it
do too
can.
much.
Yes.
But it's good to stay in
Like
No.
shape. It's good to keep yourself healthy. So and it
Of
does help
course.
you, move the food through better, and there's a lot of benefits to it. So
it helps, yeah.
personally, I don't do any in the off season. When I'm trying to grow, I
No.
have to do everything I can to get as big as I can, right?
Right.
I understand.
You might not have that problem. You have to see. You have to, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
True.
you know
Yeah. And I guess really too for me, what got me going was just where I had some health problems a couple of years ago and that, and I said, you know what, probably better off getting that little bit of steps in, getting that cardio in for health, on the heart.
Yeah, that's
So
kind of where I was going when I suggested
at
like
our age.
yeah,
yeah,
when I suggest like I'll do for him to do, maximum 20 minutes just
yeah,
moving, right? And I find that
yep.
helps, like Andy
After weight
said,
training, Like you'd never
yeah,
want to be doing cardio before his weights or anything like
nah.
that.
But I find it like um it's good, like Andy was saying, it's good for digestion, and it also makes you a little bit more hungry.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what I
Sometimes I
noticed too.
find
Yeah,
after training, I'm hungry, but I don't want to eat. Like
Yeah.
I'm the feel the same
food is
way.
like the last thing I want to do after like a leg
Big
day.
leg day.
I was like,
Yep,
oh, I don't want to eat anything. But then go jump on
yep,
cardio for like 20 minutes, and it kind of flushes everything out. And then
yep,
I find it increases the appetite a little bit more. Then maybe we can go a little bit
yep,
harder on food.
Yeah.
But Andy was right too. I give yourself a little bit of a break after a show,
yeah,
Yeah.
right? Kind of let
Yeah.
everything come back, let your glycogen fill up, and you're
yeah,
Yeah.
feeling a bit alive. Then kind of slowly go back into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
'Cause we don't.
I've been doing saunas after my workouts instead of cardio. I've been doing some sauna treatment, just doing like sweating out whatever I need to sweat out, and then it's still good for your cardiovascular health. Like
It
yeah,
does
like
increase your heart
prevention
rate,
cardio.
right?
Yeah.
So
yep.
if that's what you're looking for it to do, but
Yeah.
What happened to your strength through this process? Can you talk a little bit about that? Did it go down a lot or not too bad?
I was surprised. Like it did go down. I found my energy levels were crashing a little bit. My pumps were becoming smaller and smaller the closer I got to the show. They were probably 45 minutes and under. I was within the last 3 weeks. I was kind of just chasing a pump. I wasn't really getting a full workout in. I was doing whatever I could to make sure I got the workout in, but I definitely wasn't lifting as what I could in the off season. My squatting numbers went way down. I was more really trying to target that like hypertrophy, because I was like, okay, if I can't lift heavy, I might as well lift lighter and lift as much as I can to try and like striate everything, really get the nice body look to it. And then I was interested though, because I do work for the school in as a strength and conditioning coach for the men's basketball team. And so every month we do training, and then that training fell in the middle of my prep. So I wanted to check like my one max rep, and I actually hit 225 for 3 on bench, which is normally an off season I can do for like 7 to 8 reps, which I was like, wow, I'm pretty impressed that I got that on my prep. But that was kind of the closest to like hitting something heavy I ever got on the prep.
Yeah, that's so good. How is it now that you put a few pounds back on? It's coming back pretty quick.
Yeah. Like I like the enjoyment of working out is coming back. It's not like kind of like coming in there sluggish. I'm having a little bit more fun. The pumps are like bigger, the veins are getting pumped up, and the strength is coming back, which is pretty nice. I can push a little bit more. I can have a longer workout. I don't get exhausted as fast, and it's a lot more entertaining now.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, like, were you going for like when you're training, you're pushing less weight but more reps? What was it? Your rep ranges? Sometimes you can go overboard, and you can start.
Yeah.
Your muscles will start looking a little different after. We want to make sure you're not doing too much.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I wouldn't go too light. Like I wasn't going for like kind of like 20 rep range. I wasn't going like 15, 20, but it was underneath 15. I would go.
That's okay. I just was like, if this dude's hitting 30
I used to fire, 12, 15 rep range at him to say, let's stay in that ballpark, right?
Right. Yeah. That's good, coach. Good job.
Yeah.
I was really
as we were getting weaker and weaker there. I just basically told him, let's leave a rep in reserve, then for a set or two, and then take that last set to failure, but nothing crazy. We don't want to tear us up, but just work, right? Put some intensity in there, but don't kill yourself every set, right?
Yeah. Don't need to. No.
That's kind of what before he started training with me, and most of the guys that are young, you'll notice like it's a lot of volume, right? They normally do a shit ton of volume, and I think me and him pulled back a lot of volume with his training. Obviously, we're not eating as much, and so on and so forth. But I think this is what we'll have putting this into the off season too, is quality sets. Throw out the junk volume, right? And let's get down to business, and hit that set and stimulate and move on to another movement, right? Because as a natural athlete, he knows, right? We can't be hammering the snot out of our like biceps, 20 sets a week and expect them to grow like we used to do. It's a different ball game, but he knows now a lot of these things we learned during prep. He's just going to take that into the off season. So, like as far as training techniques and just how not to kill yourself. Like you're going to work hard, but you're not in there hammering out 20 sets for arms every second day, right? So I just noticed a lot of younger guys, especially when I was training Tristan too, just crazy amount of volume, right? 5 sets for exercises, five exercises for back, like 25 sets for back, like, and it's like, holy crap, right? Like I'd be toast after about 10.
A lot
of people about the movements, right? They're just going through the motion, right?
Yeah, a lot of people go more of the better. Like let's just hammer everything, like absolutely destroy it. And I used to.
You probably notice now that you guys can go into the gym now and do less and get more out of it because you're better at it, right? It's like a carpenter, hitting that nail in the board. I always say he can hit it once, he moves on, right? The nail's already in the board. So I always say that once you stimulate, you got the light on. You don't need to beat it all day. You got stimulated. Go home and rest and recover, right?
Yeah. Natty's
like
long
ass.
What's that?
What's that?
Natty's like us have to be careful, but you juice heads can do whatever you want.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I had a workout that was longer than an hour. I don't even remember. Maybe leg day or something.
Lucky you.
That's only because I rest 3 minutes between every set.
That's awesome. All right, buddy. That's it for me. If you
Okay,
guys have any
bud.
more questions.
No, this
Yeah.
has been an amazing experience, guys. Thank you so much for having me on here. Like I was amazing to be able to talk about my experience, and I hope that I motivate someone else to try the journey because like it's hard and it's not always easy. But looking back on it, that was probably the most fun I've ever had in a 9 week span. Like I said, eating mustard on a train isn't my favorite thing to do, but looking back on it, that'll always be a memory that'll probably stay with me.
100%, and like that's a part of the experience. People, yeah, I think those little things what make
Yeah.
this process like just gold, right? It's just unforgettable. And
Yeah.
at the time, it sucks, and you're like, "This is the worst thing ever." But a week later, you're laughing at it, and like, you're like, "Oh my god, that was crazy!" And it's like,
Yep.
Yeah.
what a
Okay.
crazy ride.
Yeah.
So again, yeah, and
Yeah, congratulations on that. That's a huge achievement.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
yeah, and we're really looking forward to seeing
You
the
already
episode.
know how proud I am of you. I've told you 1,000 times, buddy. So
Yeah. Thanks, Dion.
keep doing you. You're one of a kind. I was lucky to be involved. So you keep me around.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
cool. So just for everyone that stuck around to the very end, thank you very much. And just want to remind everyone to like, subscribe, share, hit that bell button if you haven't, and leave a comment. We'll definitely get back to you. And maybe even Vasco will come on and throw a few answers or comments on there too, if you want.
For sure. For sure. I'd
Yeah,
love to.
we talk to your fans, all of your 22,000 fans.
We need all of them subscribed. Yeah.
Yeah, get them all to subscribe. Thanks, man.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, we'll
Thanks,
definitely
guys.
have a great night, and it was good talking to you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Awesome. See ya.
Catch you next time.